In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how we use something called gesture drawing to create movement for our characters. So this is kind of taking our proportional figure drawing lesson and taking it to the next level. Once you learn the basics of how to draw a person, then you can use those steps and use gesture drawing with it to create people in motion or different characters. So here are some examples of what gesture drawings might look like. They're really quick, fast drawings of just kind of like stick people, and we use those shapes to help guide us with our drawing. So the first thing I'm going to show you today is how to create a gesture drawing, and then I'll show you how to create a basketball player and then a mermaid using gesture drawing. So step number one, I'm going to draw a gesture drawing, a movement of a person. So I start with the head and then I draw the middle line. This is kind of like the spine, or where the movement of direction of where my figure is going to go. And then I add in those basic shapes to make up the person's body. So like their torso and waist, and then the arms. And I use those little circles, remember, to show the joints, like the elbows and where things bend, and like the knees and all that kind of stuff. So for example, here I'm showing movement with my person with lines. For example, maybe like a basketball player about to shoot a hoop. So that would be one example of how we create gesture drawing. I'll do a few other examples here. Another idea is to have someone in your family pose, any kind of pose that you want, and then you draw that pose using gesture drawing. That can be really helpful. Or finding a reference photo, you can also use that to help. So this curved line right here, that is the line of action. So that's what gives us the motion, or which way, the direction our person is moving. So that's very important that you start with the line of action, that middle line, and that will guide you and let you know which way your person is moving. So once you've practiced with gesture drawing, then you can start using that to create your different characters. So in this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to create like a basketball player in motion. So what I'm doing here is using a blue colored pencil first to create my gesture drawing, and then I'm going to go over it with regular pencil. You'll see a lot of animators, people who create characters, they do this. They start with like a blue pencil to create those gestures, to create those movements for their characters before they actually create their final character. This is so we can get the idea of the motion first, and then we go over it and start adding more of those final details. So I'm creating the motion of my basketball player. Now for this, I didn't just willy-nilly freehand this. I needed a reference. So I looked up a photo and used that photo as a reference. So that is what you could do too, if I strongly recommend that, because doing this without a reference can be quite difficult. So that is something that you can do. So I started with my gesture drawing first in blue color pencil, and then I'm going over it now and starting to add in those details. So I started basically with kind of like a stick figure, you know, and then now I'm going over it and adding in those more concrete details. Now if you don't have a blue color pencil, that's totally fine. You don't need it. I'm just showing you so you can clearly see the difference. So you can see my gesture drawing and then my final drawing, okay? But you don't have to use a blue color pencil. This is, if you would like and have it, it's something to use. In the next video, the mermaid, I do not use a blue color pencil. So like I said, it's optional, but it is there so you can see where my gesture drawing is. So once you have your body, then you can add on the eyes, nose, mouth details. So I draw a line down the middle, then a horizontal line across, kind of like half of the head, and then a little line for the nose and mouth. And you can create your eyes however you want. Those are just some guidelines. All right, so now we are ready. I'm going to do the mermaid next. Same thing, we're going to use our gesture drawing skills. This time I'm not using a blue color pencil, just so you can see how it would be with regular pencil. So we start with that line of action that's going to show us what direction our body is going to go. And then we can start adding in all those shapes to make up the body. So I use basic shapes, triangles, circles, and some lines to make up that gesture drawing. But everyone has a little bit of a different technique, so if you find a little bit different way works for you and makes sense for you, that works. I'm just giving you some guidelines here to help you out and get you started. So in this case, I'm creating a mermaid, so this is not necessarily a real person. This would be more like a made-up character. And I still want to show you how we can use gesture drawing and proportions, even though the character may not be real. We can still use those skills and steps to build off of that and still create a human-like character, but with some, more magical or made-up characteristics like fins, for example, or wings, or whatever it may be. So right now, after I've drawn out my gesture drawing, I'm going back in now and darkening and creating the more main parts of my drawing. So for example, here I'm creating the fins. So I'm going around the legs to create those fins, because I know legs would be inside of fins technically, right? So I'm going around and creating that shape of the fins. So just like, for example, if you were going to make pants or a dress, kind of a similar idea.